Hello, Guardian. Welcome to another episode of the Hello Guardian podcast. I am your host, Anthony.
And you got McCadley.
And before we jump into it today, we have some special news that we wanted to share with you all. It is official. We are now on Apple Podcasts. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can now add Apple Podcast to that edition as well. Super exciting. I know. I was excited when I saw that. I looked on it. I sent you the message. I'm like, dude, we're on Apple Podcasts because I was just searching out of curiosity. It's been a little bit of time. Like we submitted it and it was just kind of looming for a bit of time, but all of the previous episodes are now on there. So if you would like, please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcast, rate it, and leave us a comment. We really appreciate it. Now, before we get into it, if you're watching this video here on YouTube or listening to the audio on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, if you are already not subscribed to the YouTube channel or do not follow our socials, please take the time to do so. Give us a like on the Twitter, like the videos, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all of the above, so you're updated on any and all things Destiny that we provide you. Now with that being said, we're gonna jump into it. There's a lot of things we want to talk about today. The first one, obviously, since it's October, it's spoopy season, so we're gonna talk a little bit Festival of the Lost. You like
I really hate spoopy, to be completely honest with you. But Festival of the Lost is definitely back. I know like the pattern that we always discuss is, hey, I know you may not have played a Festival of the Lost yet, ADOC, but you got to experience your first one this year.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far? And then I'll give mine after you.
Well, so far it's been cool, right? I think the first thing I did, it was funny. Before you even got on, I was already 10 minutes in. I already bought the Warlock set. I got all the bounties and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm done. No, but it's cool. I like the theme, just the Halloween stuff, and kind of having something else to grind for. Obviously, the things to grind right now are the ghost, the sparrow, the ship, as well as the weapons, the Braytech werewolf, as well as the reprised horror story. So both of these weapons are, from my understanding, they're drops from previous years of Festival of the Lost, but they have different stat rolls or perks.
Correct. Yeah, there's different combinations that you can actually get. And it wasn't drops the way that they're dropping this year. You can actually earn these through candy in the previous years through Ava Levante at the tower. So they definitely changed things up a little bit. Going back to the Infinite Forest, though, how do you feel on content kind of being reworked that was in the game already, though, in terms of you already having the Infinite Forest? Right. Does going to the Haunted Forest to you, how does that feel? And does that like change your mind on the event at all?
Well, I think it's a lot better than the other event. What was the other event that we had previously that was on Earth that used that space?
The European Aerial Zone.
European Aerial Zone.
Right,
so
is that what you're talking?
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, like that really felt similar, even though like it was different. Like it's not an area that you normally visit. It still felt like you were on Earth. At least with this, having the Dark Forest, it just like you knew you were in the Infinite Forest, but it was just so nice to see that it looks different. It's different enough where you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. So it actually allowed me to experience something that I hadn't seen before in the game and hadn't played through. So any of those experiences are kind of rare for me right now, because when it comes to anything like Destiny 2 related, I've pretty much have dabbled in everything. I've gone through every raid, done every event. So seeing something new-ish to me is kind of nice. So I like it so far.
Yeah, you've hit the end of the cycle, that yearly cycle of specific events that come out around holidays, or like inside summer solstice comes out, and that's usually when all of us will play that exact same event in 2021 coming. So I mean, you've experienced the whole entire calendar year right now. So what would be coming next is the winter event, which actually I don't think you did the winter event because you came around March of this year. So you'll still get the winter event coming after the expansion drops, and it's a cool tie-in since we're going to Europa. But in terms of the Infinite Forest and all that kind of stuff through Festival of the Lost, we were grinding pretty hard Tuesday for ciphers, and it seemed like that at that point, I was doing patrol missions. I found out that they were dropping on patrol missions, and I was doing a lot of those. Every hour, I would accrue maybe about 2 to 3 every hour, which to me, it's not worth it unless you have 5, because you get to go in and then pop those 5 chests and get one of those two guns or two of those two guns at that point. If you get both, which I have on multiple occasions, um, to kind of go through that as well as also get the triumph. So gaining the ciphers, now that they increase the drop rate, now you earn two per activity completion, which can be strikes, it can be crucible, it can be trials. Right now I hear they're dropping out of plenty, patrol still. So sims, all those things very similar to that. Any activity will give you those drops. um I don't know. It's the same content again and again, just you get a different reward for it. And I mean, I get it, right? I don't know what I'm expecting considering it's going to be the end of the season and they have to draw this out a little bit, but I like the drop rate. I think 2 is probably the way it could have been in the very beginning, just because that first night I burnt out already. But yeah. How do you think about the drops now compared to how it was?
I mean, in terms of like the ciphers, like I've been noticing, and I mentioned it to you last night when I was playing, was I was getting double drops on everything. So whether it was something public event related, or if it was a patrol, whenever a cipher did drop, it would drop 2. So that was at least kind of nice going into it, and I still have 5 more now. So I hope to, we can we can run it again today maybe, and not get 12 masks, and actually get a gun. So that was my thing too, because you had, I think we went in on Tuesday night or whatever. I had 5 ciphers. I went in. You went in with 2, and you popped on both, or you had
I
3, and
got
on 2 of the
yeah.
3 that you popped, you got each of the guns, and I got like 3 masks. Which, I mean, the masks are cool, but for me, like when it comes to how I have my warlock set up, I have my builds the way I want to, all the stat distributions the way I want to. So like the mask is just kind of like just for the event, and as soon as the event's done, I take it off. But keep it.
Yeah, you're kind of at a disadvantage though, man, because the last 2 years you didn't earn those masks, where now you're getting them and it's actually taking away from your percentage of getting the guns. So I
Yeah.
think once you earn all those masks, I think you'll have a higher chance where at least 1 out of every 5 chests is one of the guns will drop out for you.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is me figuring out how many masks there are, because I'll keep getting masks, but then I see someone else wearing a mask I don't have. I'm like, oh, that mask exists? I don't even know where you get that one.
I got to check
Um,
collections. I think they exist in there, and I think you can kind of
okay.
confirm with what you have and don't have. I'm
Okay.
gonna double check on the mask part though.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of cool. But I mean, we'll definitely run it again. We'll try my luck, and hopefully, you'll see here in the YouTube video, we'll we'll get me to drop something. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's
But
hope. Yeah.
yeah, otherwise, it's pretty cool. We were running it the first time. I thought that was interesting, the length of the actual event, and the idea behind it was just you go through waves. Like there's waves. You beat a wave boss. You start over again. You do it over again, and then we got to a point where you learned how to cheese it. After that, it's pretty much done. So, um, I thought that was kind of interesting, because I made the comment to you earlier. It's like you're not a true Destiny player unless you learn how to cheese different things, like whether it's
Yeah.
a raid, whether it's an event, whatever it is. Like that's like the epitome of being a true like Destiny nerd, is just knowing like where and when you can cheese.
Duping balls and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, duping balls when you went on Scourge, how you would do the waiting, like return to group kind of thing, just to respawn with Riven. Like there's so many little cheeses, and I think what's funny is, either I don't know if people find them organically, like it just happens, or they just like stretch out the game just to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, there's people that have YouTube channels that actually jump out of the map and find places, like at the end of the mission, about the interference mission a little later. I guess we'll, dig a little deeper into it, but in terms of that, it's he found an area of that map just by cheesing it and by going under and exploiting outside of skyboxes. And there are people that just dedicate glitching as part of their content, which, I mean, that's how we find out a lot of things pretty early. But yeah, in terms of the cheesing thing, you definitely need to go into the firewalled version if you're under 3 people. Complete 1 full wave, start wave number 2, and then just wait. I think last night the Heat game was on, and we were just doing this. I think we did it twice, and we just kind of chilled. We were chilling
Yeah,
and just watching TV. And to me, it's too long. It's
yeah,
if you're gonna go all 15 minutes and you hit a milestone of like 10 rounds completed, 15 rounds completed, should increase something. maybe give you the chance if you hit wave 10 to get an ascendant shard, right? That'll entice people to play that mode while the mode is out even more because they can grind something in terms of that. Although you can grind the weapons, it's not going to really benefit you, especially when I think these weapons are going to be irrelevant in a year. I think each is on a year cycle if I'm not mistaken, but I mean,
It's yeah,
whatever.
something
they're
like that.
they're kind of lackluster weapons on top of it too. So the cheesing part, I feel like, kind of like you said, you're not a true Destiny gamer unless you know a glitch, exploit, cheat, uh cheese, not cheat, but cheese, Jesus. And
Jesus.
then cheeses, and then just kind of go from there. So that's kind of how you know that you are almost in the veteran status now. So
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But otherwise, with Festival of the Lost, really not too much going on. One other thing that I guess was new that I didn't really understand. It's just like the currency is the Chocolate Strange coin, and like why
mhm.
that's added in addition to candy. I don't know if you know why, or if like that was
It was
that.
just a different currency that you can use at the vendor in the tower to get masks. That's all it
Okay.
was this year. It used to just be candy. But to be completely honest with you right now, I got all the masks from her. I didn't complete the triumphs for the sparrow or the ship. I did get the ghost. I'm probably going to get the rest of those this week sometime, but I don't see the purpose for candy other than it spoiling at the end of the event right now. Or if you do those packages to get random rolls, I think it's like 25 chocolate coins and like 150 candy, something like that. It's
Mhm.
just not worth it to me. It's literally you're just blowing your candy on shards at that point. But anyway,
Makes sense. We talk a little bit about Beyond Light. You want to talk about it, the new stuff?
I'm excited, man. Yeah, we watched a trailer about Beyond Light recently with the new weapons and the new gear. We'll go through and kind of break down parts of the trailer that we liked. We'll kind of pick a weapon, pick an armor piece that I'm excited for, as well as ADOC's excited for, and kind of go from there. So I will say in the very beginning, not to kind of put this in negative light. It's not really negative, but it's my opinion in terms of giving us details like this. So I've always been kind of not really against it. I'll watch these when they come out because of the hype, but I really think that showing exotic pieces like this kind of devalues the expansion already, in my opinion, just in turn of saying, hey, I know all of these weapons are going to be there. Now, in my mind, what's new to chase, right? I know this stuff exists already. So, what is actually going to be new when the expansion drops? When you give out too much information and too much content, I feel like when you already acquire that piece, you already know exactly what it's going to do. There's really no learning about it anymore. Um, and it's just like, oh, I already seen this one. I wish I got something that I didn't see yet. So
Right.
it's definitely cool to see content. I love seeing it. Cloud Strike is going to be, I like to snipe, and I feel like that in PvE, you'll actually have a worthy PvE sniper if it does the area of damage, it looks like. If you
Hmm.
hit multiple precision headshots, it has a huge lightning bolt and a big storm above that whole group of ads and or enemies. So that's really cool. I'll hand it over to you now to tell me what your favorite weapon is, and I'll kind of scour through again because I forget the name of the armor piece for the Titan, but I'll let you kind of, what did you break down, or what's your thoughts? Kind of like I thought in terms of how I think the trailer affects the community. What do you think in terms of, is it a good thing, or is it just a hype builder, or
Yeah.
what do you think?
So I'm in agreement that I think there should be like a limit into what you show. I think Bungie is trying to balance a lot of things right now in terms of, appealing to the greater community, showing, what this expansion is going to be like, and not just talk about, Europa and, this new type of energy that we have within stasis and all of this stuff, but kind of giving us more concrete content in terms of like the guns that we'll wield and the armor that we'll wear. So it's nice, but I'm okay with not knowing. And I think that was something I was a little bit surprised with, because when they announced this season, like when they dropped Season of Arrivals, like there wasn't really much talk of it. Like there wasn't a lot of talk of what was going to happen, what was going on, and there was some sort of appeal to it because you didn't already have an expectation. You went
Mhm.
in not knowing too much and you discovered a lot of it. Now, while not telling us everything on how these are acquired or if these are, certain guns or weapons you get through like the raids, which I don't think they are, but like I'm okay with not knowing. But like I'm still going to watch it as well because, you're going to show me something and I'm going to be like, "Oh, like that's cool. Like I
I
like
can't
this."
wait. Yeah.
Right. So it's definitely building up hype and anticipation, but I'm also for the team of not showing too much and just kind of letting things happen as they will. So when you release the expansion and you do show these, like it would be cool to just see them like in the battle pass, right? Like just seeing them like, oh, what is that? And you can't like see what it is or know what it is until until you get to a certain level to unlock it or whatever. Um, yeah, I just I don't know. Since the game's been delayed, like I don't want to be teased. I just like if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, take the time, make it right, and I'll see it then. But for me, if I have to look at all of the weapons here so far, I thought the animation was cool on the sword, the laminate. I thought that was kind of cool. But for me, I'd probably have to say Cloud Strike, just for kind of the same reasons. I don't believe this is going to be a PvP weapon replacement. I think this is going to be really for PvE. But you never know. Someone will probably use it in Crucible. Um, in terms of the armor, because that was another thing that dropped in the trailer. It was weapons and armor. Being a new Warlock main, I have to say like the Dawn Chorus looks really cool. It's like a really dope looking helmet. It kind of reminds me of the Stag a little bit, um, just in how the face of the helmet looks.
Kind of reminds me
Um,
like a praying mantis almost.
yeah, kind of. I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because it looks like the eyes, like the circles on the side, are like big eyes or whatever.
The
Um,
bug eyes, yeah.
yeah, the bug eyes. So it says Warlock's Daybreak projectiles deal extra damage and causes enemies to burn on contact and gain melee energy each time the burn hits a target. So we'll see if this will replace transversive steps. It's very hard to take that off for Warlock mains, but um, if it does enough, and it's kind of a little specialty exotic that I can use because all that I run is top tree, and who knows, might actually be helpful. So that's
And
what I'm excited for.
that's just the thing with exotics though as well. You have one really powerful one like you used transversive steps all the time because of the movement value to it.
Yeah,
It's just like, is there going to be like, right, is this going to make your Dawn Blade that much more powerful that you're like, man, I need to use this for this mission? Or if they add new public events and the boss at the end, right? How much is your movement going to really do for you at that point if you can use that and just eliminate the target faster? I mean, it is
right.
kind of situational. Um, Me personally, because I didn't give my armor piece in the very beginning, I do like the Icefall Mantle. That one you get instead of your rally barricade, it's just going to give you an overshield. I think that's
Yeah.
valuable also in PvP. I know OEM or the One-Eyed Mask right now does something very similar, but that does free up a spot for your helmet for different, perks or mods, things like that that only go to your helmet. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of curious if that they are adding a lot of, I think the other one for Titan too, I know technically we kind of agreed to one, but there is another one that is very support heavy where I forget the name of it here, Precious Scars, where if you get a resurrection, it gives your team shields. So I mean, I think they're gearing in terms of the RPG element of Destiny right now. I think with this update, they're adding the Titan class as more support,
Mhm.
just based off of this stuff. Where we all hope for Twilight Garrison, that could be one of these special exotics that you get. Uh, with the path that they're going right now, with just these two exotics for the Titan on the armor side, I would say we're probably not going to get that again. But that's okay. I know a lot of like Astacross he's a Titan main, and he mentioned something about that as well as a couple other streamers. So um, I have my hopes very low, and that kind of leads us into the what else should Bungie share? Don't know, man. I don't want to see anything else. I mean, maybe the season pass. Like, what exotic weapon are you giving us through the season pass? You've given us the last 4 seasons, 3 seasons of exotics up front. So I just don't know if I want to see much else. But that's the problem. A month away, what hype do we have to build off of now? I like the not knowing. Maybe show expansion stuff and not the seasonal content. Like make the seasonal content kind of like they did um, that day, like an hour before, have a big event again, have a live stream and say, hey, in 1 hour's time, you will be, experiencing Prince Aldrin's coming back somehow, and there is a storyline through that. Maybe with new light characters may experience him as a different name because he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
So we do have a conversation maybe for a later time on that. Um, I was always thinking about one episode, maybe just very lore heavy and just kind of really digging into what to expect as a Destiny player that follows the story. So, um,
Yeah.
which does lead us into the interference mission. What did
Yeah.
you experience this week, bro?
It was a surprise for me, just since us running it since the start of quarantine, right? Like as soon as the
Yeah.
season dropped, we're running the same mission over and over for the tree, and Eris pulls you out at the end. It was interesting because we knew, going back to the people that glitch the game and find like openings and things that are hidden inside the game's files. We did know Nokris made some sort of impact in this story, but we didn't really know how. And I even think there was images of Court of Oryx, like where he actually like got into it, and we were looking at it, but we never knew when it was going to drop, just because when the season dropped, we didn't know that the game was going to be delayed. It was slated for September 22nd, and that's what we thought. So it kind of just left our minds a little bit on when we're going to see Court of Oryx or hear anything from Nokris. So that was actually kind of cool. Like, got pulled out of the mission and just seeing it. Now, in terms of lore or Destiny 1 content, on how it all ties together, or what it means, I don't really know. But just from like the only thing that I got from it, which kind of made sense, was just like the tying of the stories, and just and putting a chapter of Destiny like to rest, just so that we're able to introduce Beyond Light and get into the next 3 years of Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm kind of on the rope here in terms of the end of that story mission. All of you guys know from all the way back from Taken King inside Destiny 1, one of the statues on the left of Oryx as you're going through the door was a scannable, and it spoke a lot about Nokris. So, my opinion on all of this stuff, just based on where the story is going to go, at the end of that mission, it brought you through the Court of Oryx, which was on the Dreadnought itself. And it looked kind of like it was just a copy and paste of that. So are they bringing assets from the Taken King? Since we are bringing back Vault of Glass, are we going to bring back in a unvaulting of the King's Fall raid as well as the Dreadnought? If you remember back to the original D2 story, at the very end of that showed once Gaul exploded with that big light, the very end of that leading up to the darkness ships was the Dreadnought on Saturn. So I remember seeing that and like, man, they're literally laying out a good 3 to 4 years worth of content all in this end scene. And it would fit the bill just because everywhere we've went so far, a little out of order, but we did go to those places. So can they be bringing that back? That would kind of, out of the 40 gigabytes we're losing, that would definitely be about 20 or 30 by itself. That's how big the Dreadnought was. So
Mm.
kind of excited for that. As I said, they're bringing back Vault of Glass in, I think, January, they said, with the next season. It's not going to be this current season. It's going to be content comes for that next season. I think we're getting a bunch of strikes and such with Beyond Light, but I think the raid is going to be coming later. So who knows? Is King's Fall going to come back? That'll be really interesting. I know there's part inside the lore that mentioned the Dreadnought as well throughout the mission that we just did as of Tuesday. So I'm kind of stoked and excited for that. Have you seen anything about the Dreadnought, Anthony, back when you go through and
No,
no?
I would watch some of the like the cutscenes and stuff just from the game, like where you see like Aldrin like in the ships or whatever, and like just the whole big cutscene, like when you get
Mhm.
into Taken King. So I do know a
The
little bit
very
about it,
beginning.
right?
Gotcha.
But in terms of like how it all ties together, or like what you're seeing now and how it ties into that story, because a lot of it's just interwoven. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. Um, and I think it's just due to me not playing Destiny 1. So I think there's still a lot of gaps. And I'm sure this is something that Bungie's like might be working on, but just getting a way for you to get the entire story like tied together, because having a lot of new light players that are getting into the game now, it's like, how do you shove all of that content and all of that lore from all of those years into what you're playing today? Um, but yeah. Not too much. I don't know too
Yeah,
much about it.
it's going to be a game that's not going to go on, forever with them working on a new IP there in the background. I think there's going to be an endpoint because originally their game plan was a 10-year game, which I think they're coming up to that in about 3 years. So they've made it. They just is the game just going to all of a sudden have a final chapter like our favorite TV shows and such? And uh, as much as I hope not, that's the way it's kind of panning out. So that's typically all that we have for today, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys that are listening from the newly updated Apple podcast section, as well as if you guys do listen to us on Spotify, please thumbs up and 5 stars, all that kind of stuff. If you enjoy the content, you guys can also catch the video portion of this over at YouTube, YouTube/Hello Guardian, or just do a search on YouTube for Hello Guardian. Please throw us a follow on Twitter as well. We will reach out to anyone that has constructive feedback on the game as well as the podcast. And I appreciate you guys listening.
Take it easy, guys. See you on the next one.